Hello, everybody. It's Paul David here. Today, I'd like to do what I would call an honest review of Epiphone Les Paul Greeny. There's a little bit of backstory on this guitar for me. 1984, Gary Moore released his Victims of the Future album, did a U.S. tour, and open up in Pittsburgh at the then Civic Arena. I believe he opened up for Ozzy that year. I think there was three bands: Ozzy, Motley Crue, and then Gary Moore. He was the opening act, and I knew he was a good guitar. I mean, he had already had that End of the World album, and then Shapes of Things, and I knew he was going to play well, but man, he really blew me away that day. So, about a week ago, I had heard, I didn't know that there was a Les Paul Greeny, but I had heard through Trogley that they released an Epiphone Greeny. And just because I seen Gary Moore playing that guitar, not this guitar, but his 1959 Les Paul Standard on stage, how well it sounded, I thought, you know what, I want to get that. So there's been a few reviews on this guitar. Some really good ones and some really bad ones. The good one came from Trogley, and that's why I purchased the guitar. And after I made the purchase, I watched a few more reviews, and one person saying, don't buy this guitar, it's too much money. Another gentleman stating that it was a piece of junk, he was sending it back. And it kind of set me back. So I thought, well, I got the guitar, did some work on it, and I thought maybe I need to do a little bit of an intermediate review with some honest answers, so you can make a decision as to where you want, whether or not you want this guitar. The first point of matter about the guitar is it comes with the Gibson open book headstock. A few years back, a buddy of mine purchased a few Epiphone Les Pauls, and he said, man, they really improved their workmanship on the guitars. And I've had experience with Epiphone in the back. I had 1990s Epiphone Dot ES335. I took it to a luthier because I couldn't get the action down. At this time, I didn't know how to set up guitars myself. When I say set up, I'm talking about a total fretboard level recrown. And Ron's Music, West Elizabeth, Pennsylvania. I don't believe Ron's still in business, but he was a pretty good luthier back in the day. His statement to me was, all Epiphones come in and they're going to need some kind of fret work done to them. They're going to need filed and crowned. That's just how they are. He says, I can fix it. I can make it work for you. Fast forward a few years, I started learning how to do my own work on guitars, and wasn't really afraid to purchase a guitar because I knew I could make pretty much any guitar play well. So when this guitar arrived, I thought, based on what my friend had told me, that it was going to, it was going to be a little bit better built than Epiphones of the past. And I opened up the case and I looked at the bridge, and it was cranked off of the fretboard, where the strings were that much higher off of the fretboard. And I looked at it and I'm like, geez, oh peas. And then based on the other review that the other gentleman said he wanted to send the guitar back, the fret ends were just nubbed off. There was no work done on the fret end. This guitar right here, it's not a open box review. This guitar I've worked on. As you can see, I put a new pick guard on it. And I've done all the work to it. So let's talk about the guitar, what it is, what it comes with, and then we'll talk about the setup work you're going to have to do if you want to purchase this guitar. The guitar has a 12-inch radius fretboard. It has a mahogany neck and body. It's a maple top, but realize when you see that flame maple, that's a veneer sitting on top of the flame maple. That's not like a Les Paul where they take actual flame maple and they cap the guitar. They cap it with maple and then they put a veneer on top of it. The fretboard is Indian laurel. It's not rosewood, or sometimes Gibsons will come with ebony. The inlays are real mother of pearl. It comes with the Gibson USA greenbacker in the neck position, and it's a reverse polarity pickup. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And the Gibson USA greenbacker in the treble position. It has a hard shell case, and it has a 50s neck. And let's talk about Epiphone for a little bit. Epiphone, as most of us know, is a company bought out by Gibson in 1957. In 1970, they set up production in Japan and then moved production to China and Indonesia in, I'm going to say, 2004. And that's where this guitar was made, in China. So the guitar came, and just like some of the negative reviews, it was set up really poor. I was set back myself. I mean, I haven't bought a guitar in a while that I opened the case and the setup was this bad on this guitar. I actually thought about myself about returning the guitar myself. So what I did is I began to set it up. And let's talk about the setup I did with it. I had to do a level and crowning on the fretboard. I had to file the ends of the frets. And then the nut itself was very, very high. It was probably at least 1/8 of an inch too high. And with all Epiphones, the strings are higher at the nut position. So I leveled the fretboard, polished them up a bit, cleaned up the ends of the frets, and then I worked the nut and put the guitar back together, and then I added a pickguard to it. I had this laying around. You can purchase these on Amazon, by the way. I just wanted Les Paul pickguard on the guitar. Plugged it in, and the difference was day and night with the guitar. So here's the deal with the guitar. It has Gibson USA pickups in it. And I brought this with me. I purchased in the past an Epiphone Greeny, and I took the pickups out of it. I put in Seymour Duncan 59s in it. Really changed. You could tell the difference between the Seymour Duncan 59s and these Epiphone Greeny pickups. Those are Gibson USA pickups, and if anybody is familiar with Gibson pickups, they sound like Gibson USA pickups. And that's the plus, and then obviously the headstock is the open book Gibson headstock. To me, the guitar was worth keeping for that reason. The setup, I would say if you were to purchase this guitar, you're going to either spend $200 to $300 on setup, depending on where you're at and who your luthiers are and what they're charging, or you're going to have to be able to do it yourself. For me, it was worth it because I already have the tools. I wouldn't send it out to a luthier. But just to give you an idea, if you want to do this yourself, I'm not going to show you how to do it because I'm not going to have anybody blaming me if they mess up their own guitar. I kind of just grabbed the tools I used. This is, you can buy this at StewMac. It's a 12-inch radius fretboard sander. This is a fret rocker. What you do is you lay this over 3 frets. If it rocks that fret is high, you know you have to bring it down. So the first step, You put the fret rocker on all the steps. You mark which frets are high. You can use a file like this. I've gotten away from doing this because this takes too much material off the file. What I use is 150 grit sandpaper, and I run it all the way up and down the fretboard, and then I re-rock the fret until the whole fretboard is level. At that point in time, you've got a bunch of marks all over your frets. If you put strings on it right then and there, you're going to fill all the scrapes in the frets. Then I take 600 grit wet sandpaper, I sand the frets off, and then I use this Scotch-Brite and kind of polished them up a little bit. I was actually pretty impressed with the guitar. So to me, this is a keeper, but it's only a keeper if you're going to do the extra work. If you purchase this guitar directly from Epiphone, I believe you're going to be disappointed and you're going to want to send it back. If you're willing to do the little bit of extra work on the guitar, I actually enjoy playing the guitar. Now I've got my Vox AC30 and my 1970 Fender Twin with the JBL speakers over here. I'm running it through a Boss pedal board. I have a digital delay and an Ibanez tube screamer set up, and then there's some reverb on the amps. I'm just going to play for a minute. It's late at night here. My wife is sleeping. The amps are really low, just to give you an idea of what the guitar sounds like. I'll put it in all three positions, then play it clean. Mentioned I had to set the intonation, but that's a given with the guitar. Now the special feature on this guitar is the neck pickup is wound out of phase, so when you put the guitar into the the middle position, there's a little bit, it almost sounds like you turned on a wall pedal and you're not working the wall pedal. It has a little different sound. And this is wired in the 50s pattern, so if you kick the treble back, you can actually hear. That woman sound that clapped it. Position. Can you hear the little nasal tone it has, and then the neck? This is with the tube screamer turned off and a little bit of chorus. there you have it. The Epiphone Greeny Kirk Hammett model. I haven't taken, just so I'm going to take this off right away, just so you know, made in China. I always take those off of my Epiphones. I don't want anybody to know I have a guitar made in China. But I'll take that off now. I was waiting to make this video. I hope this was helpful for you as a video. I hope it helped you to make a decision. Is this a guitar you want to purchase? Is it not a guitar you want to purchase? There's obviously a few red flags there. The price going against the setup. And it's, you know, I mean, it's something you want to think about. Can you set this up yourself? Do you want to spend the money to set it up yourself? Once it is set up, I can say this guitar performs really well. And I like it. It was worth it to me. Is it going to be worth it to you? If this video was helpful for you, would you please subscribe to my channel down below? And always thank you for watching my channel, and have a nice day.